Hey everybody, this is Maya Zahira with Psychic Protection Sanctuary, and I am out here at Catalina State Park. Um, the camera might be a little bit shaky because I did not bring my stand. I actually didn't know that I was even going to do a video. I'm just in my grubby clothes and dirty hair because it's my day off, and I was just planning on just being out here on this really warm day in Tucson, Arizona. Um, but I had some things on my mind and I decided I wanted to just hop on here. And one of my favorite things to do, my favorite things to do that I used to do in the past, has been to do videos out in nature. And right now, I'm not living out in nature, which is kind of breaking my heart um, since we're on stay-at-home orders. But at least I have a patio out there. But it's not a very good place to do videos because there's people that walk by. It's not very private. So here we are. Today I wanted to talk about the 5 stages of grief and just share a little bit of personal information. And then I also want to give you a little look out at nature at where I'm at right now. So most people have heard about Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's 5 stages of grief. This video I'm doing on the fly, so I didn't even, I haven't Googled her to find out when she passed away exactly. She you can look her up, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, Kubler -Ross. Through her many years of work, she created, and sorry for the wind, you guys, I wish I had control over the weather. Hope you can hear me. She came up with this list that describes the different stages of grieving that she was observing in people. So most people have heard about this, but we're just going to talk about it. So when I was in college, in my psychology class, we learned DABDA, D-A-B-D-A. So it's denial, anger, bargaining. Let me say denial, anger, bargaining, D-A-B, depression, acceptance. Now I might have listed those off in a different order than, I'm not sure. I didn't Google it, but I know that those are the ones. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. I think that's actually the standard correct order. And I want to remind everybody that we don't necessarily go through those things in order. I think it was a couple weeks ago that I realized in my own thinking through all of this junk that's going on, I realized that we are all, as a collective, we are grieving. There's all sorts of other emotions that are happening, but we're all grieving. We're grieving just so many things. We're grieving the loss of our usual schedule. We're grieving, some people had special events planned, a wedding, or you were giving birth, going to give birth in a certain way and not able to do that. Maybe you had an anniversary party, you had some kind of special event. People who were getting ready to graduate from high school, college, all that stuff has been messed up. All these things that you were planning on doing. There's grieving over not being able to connect with your community in the way that you may have been used to doing it. Grieving over, some people have lost their jobs. There's deep grieving over that. And the list is infinite. There's so many different things that we're all grieving. And then there's grieving over collective kinds of things, like things are never going to be the same. Now, even once we go back to normal, it's not ever going to be the same. Like, this is something that we're going to be telling our grandkids about, that we went through. And I don't know how everything's going to be different, but it's definitely going to be different. So I think it's important to recognize and remember all of those different stages of grieving: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. And there's another one that I've heard added, and it's integration. It's kind of like, it's a little more, it's like integration. It's like finding meaning. It's beyond acceptance. It's like finding meaning in what has happened or what is happening, right? So let's go through each one, and I'll just give a little tidbit explanation of each one. Denial, what that is it's like saying, oh, everything's fine. There's no problem. I'm just going to pretend that everything is as usual. I'll try to ignore it, right? Um, Anger. There's a lot to be angry about. I was experiencing anger and frustration earlier today, and I might talk about that in a bit. Over the global and local situation. Uh, DAB, bargaining. Let's talk about that because not everyone knows what that is. Bargaining is like thinking, well, if I do this, maybe the situation will be okay. And a lot of the bargaining is the kind of thing where like people will say prayers and say like, well, if I just pray and make a deal with God, then everything will be fine. Like, please make it go back to how it was before. Please, please, please. Um, if you make everything okay, I will stop doing XYZ, or I promise that I will do blah, blah, blah. That's bargaining. Okay, whether it's with God or just in your own mind or, with another higher being, whatever, with the aliens. Like I've seen people posting about aliens, that there's, yeah, actually, that reminds me, there's something else I want to talk about, but I'll come back to that. Yeah, so that's the bargaining stage. Depression, that's where we feel the sadness and the despair. Um, and the feelings of loss over everything that we've lost or that we're afraid that we might lose. And then acceptance is like, okay, I'm adaptable. I can deal with this. I was kind of I went from anger earlier today, and then I was trying to move into acceptance because I was deep breathing and saying to myself, I am adaptable. I can adapt. I can adapt to this. Um, and so sometimes we'll jump around. We'll have a moment or a day or a week where we're totally in acceptance, like, okay, I can deal with this. Let's just keep moving forward. And then in another moment, we are bargaining or we're angry or what have you. So remember, it doesn't go in any particular order. Um, it's important that we honor our emotions as they come up. But my suggestion is to not get stuck in one of these areas, like to not get stuck in depression or despair. Don't get stuck in anger, etc. And any of these except for acceptance. All of these are normal. Do feel your feelings, but if you get frozen for weeks in despair where you can't do anything, that's not helping you. It's not helping anybody. So there's a couple things that I wanted to mention about that. And one is, and this was actually a video that I was thinking of doing last week, and I didn't have time. So I'll talk about it right now. It's using distraction to get you out of, if you're in a really intense feeling state, like you're like really overwhelmed with depression or just totally overwhelmed with whatever. Again, to emphasize, I feel very strongly that it's important to feel our emotions. Don't bypass them. Don't ignore them. Don't stuff them down. But when you get into that complete overwhelm, then it's like you can't stay there. You just really can't stay there, because otherwise you just can't function. You're just frozen, laying in bed, like not able to get out of bed, right? I wish I brought my stand today, because my hand is shaking. All right. So sometimes I will use a distraction to get me out of the intensity. And then I can come back later when it's not so intense and think about my thoughts and feel my feelings. And if that resonates for you, I would suggest it, or to talk to your therapist about it. So by a distraction, I mean stop what you're doing. If you're completely freaking out, stop what you're doing and go for a walk. Or stop what you're doing and take 10 deep breaths. Or do some calisthenics, do some jumping jacks in place, run in place vigorously. Or stop what you're doing and go watch a funny movie, okay? Or maybe just watch something like mind-numbing that's not educational. It's just like television garbage. Like maybe you need to just go do that for an hour so you can decompress. I'm not a big fan of television garbage, but I think sometimes we have to just unplug from the intensity for a little while. And I'm sure this makes sense to many of you, that like when you're in those moments of high intensity and hypervigilance, you're not making your best decisions. And you know, one thing about me is that my body is super, super sensitive. So if I let myself stay in those kinds of places for very long, I literally will make myself sick. I'll be sick within hours. Like it just tanks my immune system. I'll have a cold by the end of the day. Well, right now with all this stuff going on, we don't want to be sick, right? You don't want to reduce your immune system. So I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. So I don't have that kind of training. I'm just sharing what works for me. So if it resonates with you, go for it, or talk to your therapist about it. Just remember not to completely bypass all of your emotions and your feelings. And that's the next thing that I want to talk about. That one thing that I've noticed a lot on social media is an upsurge in spiritual bypassing. Spiritual bypassing. So that's a fancy term that refers to using any spiritual beliefs, philosophies, spiritual practices, etc., as a means of bypassing your actual feelings, and or as a means of bypassing the actual situation. So here's some examples of spiritual bypassing that I've seen in the New Age community. A lot of posts online that are saying things like, the virus isn't real. It's all just fear, so focus on love. And then the people will just like go out and still have public gatherings and like hug people and say, well, we don't believe in the virus, and so we're just keeping our vibration high, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm going to tell you, with the information that I've channeled from my inner knowing, when I've come out to the mountains away from the collective chaos energy, the virus itself is actually a real thing. It's not just make-believe, and there are actually people who are sick, who have been sick. I'm not gonna. There's more that I would say on that, because there is I can't talk. I need to get a drink of water. There's definitely misinformation in the news media, but I'm not going to go into that in this video. But the virus itself is real, and so all this spiritual bypassing BS of like, just focus on love and the virus isn't real, it's just the real virus is fear. That is spiritual bypassing. That is like taking a shit sandwich sorry if you don't like cussing, but taking a shit sandwich that is the virus situation and sprinkling a bunch of spiritual sugar onto it and saying, there we go, it's totally fine. It's totally avoiding what's really going on. And the reason why people do it is because they are faced with emotions and realities that make them uncomfortable. So that's why it's called bypassing. It's like, ooh, this makes me uncomfortable, so I'm going to bypass my actual feelings. I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to take, I saw this like channeled information about what's going on. I'm going to just like absorb that and avoid actually feeling anything and just deny. If there's a lot of denial, like I'm just going to deny the actual situation. That's spiritual bypassing. There's also, I mentioned channeling. There's also a lot of different posts and videos going around of channeled information, and I can't speak for every bit of channeled information that's getting sent anywhere, but I can speak regarding the stuff that's been sent to me. And every single thing that's been sent to me or that I've clicked on Facebook that's been in my feed has been messages via false light entities. So false light entities love to pretend to be aliens, the Galactic Federation of Light, other spiritual beings. They love pretending to be these higher up ascended beings and channeling just all sorts of gobbledygook, and it's always the same. I'm getting on my rant, you guys. Sorry. It's always the same freaking message. It's, dear ones, we are with you. We know this time is so challenging, but we are surrounding the planet and protecting you from the bad ones, whoever the bad ones are in their channeling. And you are going through a 5D awakening, and everything is evolving, and this is a wonderful thing. Everything is waking up, and be happy, blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing. The same message has been channeled, just different words. The same exact thing, same message. For like, when I've done my research, I've looked back like up to 30 years ago, the same freaking message. People are channeling so-and-so, you fill in the blank, being, or council of beings, saying, we understand you are suffering on the planet. You are going through an awakening. It's the same shit. The message is the same every single time. And it's like, hello, people, do you not see? Like, haven't you noticed that the message is always the same? It's always the same. And I am sorry. I get on my soapbox about this. I'm like, I just, like, how do people not see that it's the same message every single time? But I also have compassion. I understand that the reason why people cling to that is because it gives them comfort. Because this situation is fucking scary, you guys. And I get it. I really do. So if those messages give you comfort, if that's what you need right now, then, who am I to say that that's not okay for you? Because this situation is so hard. But I did want to just point out that this has been a high time for tons and tons of spiritual bypassing, and people kind of falling into those dysfunctional habits. So this is not about judging anybody who's doing that. It's about noticing that if there are moments when you're falling into spiritual bypassing, then you can say, oops, okay, what's going on here? And then regarding your authentic feelings, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, integration, finding meaning, all of that. I feel like a broken record. I've said this on Facebook so many times as well, that it's so important to honor our feelings. I don't know if I already mentioned this. I was I don't know if I already mentioned it on this video, but I've had about 5 different people in the last couple weeks have said, gosh, I'm feeling really, really good. And I feel kind of guilty for that. I feel bad that like I feel so good. I feel calm. I feel serene. And what I've told each of them is don't feel bad. Like, well, you could feel however you need to feel, but I would suggest that you don't need to feel bad for feeling good right now because you're helping. But if you're feeling good right now, then you're helping to add to the collective consciousness of calm on our planet. So you can feel good about the fact that you feel good if that's how you feel right now. If you're feeling any of the other range of emotions, that's okay. You are human and this is a crazy situation. So no matter what your viewpoints are about where this is coming from, why, all of that, no matter what, there's it's just intense all around. So take time to honor your feelings. I think how I want to wrap this up is to bring us back to the one of the last things that I put out there on YouTube, which was an audio about disconnecting with global fear. And if you haven't listened to that already, or if you're watching this on Facebook or something, I'm going to just tell you real quick how to get to my YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com and then click on or go into the search bar, type in Psychic Protection Sanctuary. And there's a recent audio called How to Disconnect from Global Fear. I'm not going to repeat all of that, but basically one thing that happens is that these feelings that I've been talking about, the denial, the anger, etc., sometimes you might be feeling more than just your own emotions. You might be also feeling the collective of your community and all of humanity because the feelings are really, really intense. So I invite you to go and listen to that because I explain it and I take you through an exercise. But I've been also wanting to do a follow-up to that, and I'm going to wrap up this video by talking about the follow-up information. And it's this, that yes, the global energy on the planet right now is fear, and it actually has been for a long time. But we don't want to disconnect completely from all of humanity. You don't want to just put yourself in your own solitary bubble. I want you to remember that yes, there may be people who are hoarding toilet paper and doing stupid shit, but there are also tons of people, and I dare say way more people right now on the planet that are stepping up and helping each other, neighbors that are helping each other, people that are helping out elderly, bringing food and medicine. And, there's so many ways that humanity has been binding together, and doing good for one another and being of support. So while you may feel the need to disconnect from the global collective of fear, you can also imagine that there's a web from person to person, every human on the planet, connecting an energy of love and camaraderie and helpfulness, and that we are all in this together. We are a collective of humanity, and we are handling this. We're going to be okay. We're going to get through this. But we not only have that non-beneficial energy of fear going through all of humanity, but there's love too. So I encourage you to focus on that web of love and connecting all of humanity. And my final message would be just to simply repeat that we will get through this. This isn't going to last forever. I also feel called right now to say that if you are one of the people who feels like there's more than meets the eye underneath this situation, and you feel in an emotional and mental space that you'd like to explore that, because not everyone is in the mental space right now. Some people just need to be in a space of self-care, and that's okay. But if you are a truth seeker and you feel like you are in a mental and emotional space to look deeper, then I would encourage you to go to my website, psychicprotectionsanctuary.com, and under the events tab, there is a group called $12.99 a month Psychic Protection Insiders, and it's literally $12.99 a month. So if you're interested in that, click on it. So just remember, we will get through this. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on behind the scenes, but we are strong, and we're resilient, and we're adaptable, and all those things that you already know about yourself. So take good care of yourself. Think of yourself as a houseplant. Drink water, get sunshine, because you're going to need it. Don't stay inside all the time. That's when all of the emotions are going to go haywire. Get some fresh air. Get yourself grounded. Okay. As I get further guidance on what else to share with you guys, I'll hop on again. And if there's anything that you need, message me. Let me know if there's anything you need me to teach about or talk about. Just let me know, because I've been feeling really good. Oh, I know I keep talking. I want to share this one little thing. I've been feeling really, really good in the last couple of weeks, and I noticed a pattern that there were a lot of, oh my gosh, there's a caterpillar on the ground over there. It's a big fuzzy fat thing. Cool. I wonder if that's a wonderful omen. The caterpillar before the butterfly. He's already far away, so I can't show you guys. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot what I was going to say. So for several weeks before the pandemic really hit the Western world, there were many light workers, including myself, who were getting blasted by psychic attack, like blasted, and the energies were feeling horrible and intense and overwhelming. And there were people there was major psychic attack happening, mental, emotional warfare, people feeling totally oppressed spiritually, and like this major depression, but not knowing why. There was a huge wave of that, a huge wave of darkness that happened right before the pandemic hit the Western world, and then that wave lifted. So myself and several other light workers were just feeling horrible before, and now we're feeling really, really strong. And I'm still looking into what the reason was for that. But I am grateful that I'm in a really strong space, so I'm able to be of support. So coming back to this, whatever you need, let me know. I'm working extra to be of support in any way that you guys need. So my heart is with all of us, and we will get through this. Go drink some water, get some sunshine. Love you. Bye.